3 p.m., the streets of Taipei suddenly rang out. A shrill air defense siren. You rubbed your sleepy eyes and rushed to the window. A few dazzling flames appeared in the distant sky, vaguely accompanied by a muffled explosion. The war seemed to come in an instant. This moment, your mind has only one thought. Find a place to hide, but where is it safe? Basement bomb shelter. Or leave the city. A series of questions exploded in my head. My heart is beating faster. Phone buzzing. Pushing emergency notifications. Air raid alerts. Please take shelter immediately. You hear the neighbors in the hallway. The sound of hurried footsteps. There were children crying. The smell of burning smoke filled the air. The whole city seemed to fall into chaos and darkness in an instant. Fortunately, the above scene is just our hypothetical plot. However, is a cross-strait war really possible? If it happens, Taiwan is really capable of resisting an attack by the world's second-largest power? There is a non-engineer who is bold enough to say, "Attack Taiwan. That's just to die." That sounds shocking. Where does the confidence come from? Today, we will discuss Taiwan's geographical advantages, step by step. Show everyone the true strength of Taiwan's military. And if war breaks out, how can we ordinary people protect ourselves? Where to take refuge? So let's start with this. Let's first take a look at Taiwan's unique geographical barriers. The average width of the Taiwan Strait exceeds 160 kilometers. The narrowest point is about 130 kilometers. This is not a ditch that can be crossed casually. It's a real danger. Don't look at it now, it will fly over in 10 minutes by plane. For a large number of ships and landing forces, crossing this sea is extremely difficult. Every autumn and winter, strong northeast monsoon, frequent typhoons in summer, capable of large-scale, the weather window for 2 landings. It's only a few days until the end of the year, so the ancients said that one husband is in charge. God has replaced Taiwan. They created their first natural barrier. Look at the topography of Taiwan itself. Mountains to the east, the mountain range extends directly to the coast. There are few gently sloping beaches suitable for large army landings, although there are some plains and sandy beaches in the west. But there are many wetlands and reefs. There are very few natural harbors. To put it bluntly, if the People's Liberation Army wants to forcibly land, only a few known landing sites can be selected. Like Taoyuan Guanyin, Freshwater Estuary, Taichung Shimizu, General Tainan, a handful of places like Kaohsiung Cemetery. And everywhere, Taiwan has long built up tight fortifications. Deploy heavy guards. If the enemy lands from these points, just throw yourself into the net, waiting to step into our circle of fire. Not to mention, Taiwan also has the central mountain range that runs from north to south. Once the enemy breaches the beach line, they will be greeted by mountains and defensive positions scattered throughout it. It's like entering a vast natural fortress. How many attempts have been made to invade Taiwan in history? Both ended in failure. In the 17th century, Zheng Zhenggong drove out the colonists. During the Qing-French War in the 19th century, the Ninth Palace of the French Army does not move in Taipei. In the 38th year of the Republic of China, the Communist Army invaded Kinmen and suffered a fiasco. This shows that Taiwan is a treasure island, not a fish to be slaughtered. Finish talking about the terrain. Now suppose the PLA really took the risk. Launch an amphibious landing attack. What would it look like? First, they have to concentrate a large number of transport ships, carrying tens of thousands of troops and tanks, vast through the Taiwan Strait. With modern surveillance technology, this massive buildup, it's impossible to hide. They haven't left port yet. We've already detected the wind and grass. When war broke out, People's Liberation Army, probably like Russia did to Ukraine, missiles and rockets first, bombing a major military target in Taiwan, commonly known as kicking the door, attempts to weaken Taiwan's defenses. But our army have a combat mindset to preserve combat power. The evacuation of the evacuation. The concealed concealment. I don't just sit there and wait to be cheated. After the other party's missiles are dumped, Taiwan's counterattack is just about to begin. The People's Liberation Army's landing corps, forward on the vast strait. They will face fire from the sky. Anti-ship missile, fighter submarine, all-round mine service. Can imagine. Large ships that sail slowly on the sea. Like a live duck on a shooting range, makes you want to shoot a few rounds. Once the ship is hit, several ships are in disarray. The troop carrier sank. Bad. The soldiers above haven't even seen the beach yet. I'm afraid I'll be buried at sea. If very few ships really broke through the sea interception, beach landing was successful. They will find there are already fortresses and chariots on standby on the shore. Artillery greet. Officials have no cover on the open beachhead. Became the best target for firepower, let alone the city. It's hard to get a foothold just by the sea. During World War II in history, the Allied invasion of Normandy finally succeeded. That's because they had air and sea superiority and casualties. In 1949, the Communist Army attacked the ancient Ningtu Battle of Kinmen. Just because the transport ship was sunk, not enough backup, the first wave of troops to land was almost wiped out. So just the greed. Enough to make the offender pay the price of blood on the beach. Former chief engineer of Zhongfeng Missile, Dr. Zhang Cheng, said bluntly, the first wave of 30,000 landing forces. Not so easy. If Taiwan is well preserved, these vanguards are here to die. Let's talk about airborne assault again. The People's Liberation Army may attempt to mobilize skirmishers and helicopters, quickly seize Taiwan's airport, port, or first pass. But this trick is actually more life-threatening. When a large transport aircraft approaches Taiwan, it is likely to be attacked by our anti-aircraft missiles and fighter jets. Intercept in midair, shot down before dropping a skirmish. And even if you risk throwing thousands of scattered skirmishers, facing the Taiwanese defenders who are everywhere, easily broken by each. Not to mention Taiwan. Important airports have already been strengthened, and the defense of critical facilities will not easily let the enemy get something for nothing. As for the helicopter attack on the special forces, that sounds handsome, but the helicopter formation must fly at a low altitude. It is very easy to become our air defense. Torches under the fire net. Russia not long ago. Army at Antonov Airport in Ukraine do sudden airborne, ostensibly occupying the airport. As a result, the reinforcements couldn't keep up. The Ukrainian defenders fought back and surrounded them. Airborne elite sacrificed in vain. The People's Liberation Army is as bold as it is. It will also be bloody in Taiwan. Same reason. In the case that we have certain power over the air, enemy troops airborne rashly, it will only end up with no return. The Russian-Ukrainian war has taught the world a lot. It is a valuable reference for Taiwan. So let's start with this. Don't try to take down the capital in 3 days. When the Russians tried to take down the axe with lightning, as a result, I touched a gray nose. Ukrainian military and civilian resistance smashed the Russian army's quick-fix plan. This proves that unless the defense gives up, otherwise the so-called decapitation operation has a very low success rate. Secondly, the aggressor's bombardment does not equal victory. The Russians launched thousands of missiles, destroyed much of Ukraine's urban infrastructure, but most of the main forces of the Ukrainian army have preserved their strength, still organize a counterattack. On the other hand, the Russian army itself is logistically poor on the front line. They were losing ground. The same is true for Taiwan. As long as we can preserve our strength and not be wiped out by a wave from the previous long-term war of resistance and advanced light weapons, it can be very powerful in the hands of the weaker party. Ukrainian soldiers use small javelin missiles. Stinger missile. It devastated the Russian tank and helicopter army. Let the huge flood of steel sink into the mud. Taiwan has also prepared a large number of needles, anti-aircraft missiles, and anti-tank weapons. As the saying goes, small is big. A tank of tens of millions could be defeated by a missile of hundreds of thousands. Furthermore, war is also about intelligence and morale. Ukraine relies on accurate intelligence coordination, and the high morale of Wei successfully thwarted multiple Russian raids. Taiwan has a well-developed radar monitoring and direct control system, coupled with the determination of the people to defend their homeland and country. The same can make the attacker, Wang Yanghai, caught in the People's War. Finally, the power of international aid cannot be underestimated. Weapons information provided by the United States, the United Kingdom, and other countries turn the tide in Ukraine. If Taiwan is in trouble, there is help. I will never stand by. So the Russo-Ukrainian war tells us, as long as the tactics are right, the hearts of the people will not break down. You can make the impossible possible in the face of a powerful enemy. People often ask, how long can Taiwan survive if it is attacked? Now we should think about the other way around. How long can the other side last? As long as Taiwan is not dealt with quickly, the battle line is stretched. The worse it is for the People's Liberation Army. The first is the issue of troop strength and attrition. 23 million people in Taiwan, although only less than 1/10 of the population on the other side. But we are fighting for our home. The whole people are fighting hard. Every street, every town, can become a battlefield that consumes enemy troops. The People's Liberation Army is the first wave. Put in 100,000 troops to land. If the 9th Palace does not, the casualties are getting bigger and bigger. How many more troops can they put in later? Modern warfare is unlike the cold weapons age. Crowd tactics, logistic supply for sample tubes, battlefield rotation, weapons production is a huge pressure. It involves a competition of economic and social energy. Once the war rages, enter a war of attrition. Behind Taiwan, backed by the vast free world economic system, a steady stream of supplies and equipment, it can be supported in various ways. The other side will face an economic blockade, international sanctions, even the dilemma of sea trade routes being cut off. China's economy and foreign trade, extremely dependent on energy imports. If it is really committed by force, it's surrounded by the world. I'm afraid the economy will collapse in a few months. People's livelihood issues within China at that time. How much stress will unemployment cause? War to the end. Not only is it more than anyone else's, it's who can't stand the social pressure first. The people of Taiwan will certainly suffer greatly, but we have no way out. On the other hand, the people on the other side... Are you really willing to suffer endless casualties and poverty? If the Qin-Taiwan War cannot be fought for a long time, hundreds of thousands of lives, the economy went backwards by several decades, I'm afraid the Beijing authorities themselves will have a hard time explaining. From this point of view, Taiwan is strategically, in fact it is in a situation where as long as you don't lose, you win. We don't have to conquer each other. As long as the aggressor can't hold on, this war is over. Speaking of enduring combat, we cannot fail to mention Taiwan's reserve military, and the potential for popular mobilization, after all, outside the regular army, in the event of a state of total war. All citizens are soldiers. Taiwan has about 180,000 active troops, but the reserve personnel of potential movers, hundreds of thousands or even millions. The government has also begun to strengthen the reserve mobilization system in recent years. For example, restoring the one-year $1.50 billion and strengthen predictive training. And there was a steady flow of soldiers in the war. Defend many veterans. Members are usually invisible in all walks of life and society, but they all have military skills. Once the country needs it, will come forward and approve the robe again. There's been a lot of spontaneous defense coming up. Training activities, such as shooting lessons, first aid training, disaster prevention drills, etc. Everyone is silently preparing for a possible battle. Don't think that young people in Taiwan are all strawberries. It's really a matter of survival. Who doesn't become a brave man of steel? To better understand the status of reserve mobilization, we interviewed a retired colonel, Mr. Lee. He was in charge of the training of the reserve forces in the army. After retiring, he still focuses on national defense. He told us, "Retired colonel salute. Don't look at some young people who usually like to play with mobile phones, running nightclubs, but they wear military uniforms. Everyone is very hard. Our reservists, many have formal service experience. Not bad marksmanship and tactics. Now the military is also improving the training method. Let Jiaozhou stop messing around. Practice with real guns. I believe that once war breaks out, all children in Taiwan, it will be like the Ukrainian people in those days. Take up arms to defend your home. We don't ask everyone to go to the front line and charge, but at least you can protect your community. Although I myself have retired, they don't move as fast as they used to. But the gun still works. Maybe I can teach young people 2 tricks. The words of reason are accompanied by hearty laughter, but it reveals a firm belief. Yes! Taiwan's reserve military and social mobilization capabilities. It is the deepest foundation in wartime. Don't underestimate any ordinary Taiwanese. In the moment of need for the motherland, they could all become fearless warriors. Finally, let's talk about international support. Taiwan is not alone. Once something happens in the Taiwan Strait, democratic allies such as the United States and Japan may lend a helping hand. The United States has always adopted a strategic ambiguity policy towards Taiwan, although it is not clear that it will send troops. However, in recent years, the President of the United States has repeatedly expressed if China violates Taiwan by force, the U.S. military will defend Taiwan. After all, Taiwan's strategic position is too crucial. Once lost, the first island chain will be torn apart. The security situation in the Western Pacific will change dramatically. This is unacceptable to the Daily Alliance. The former Japanese Prime Minister once said that Taiwan is powerful. Japan is powerful. It can be seen that Japan attaches great importance to Taiwan's security. Japan has a powerful self-defense force and a U.S. military base very close to Taiwan, fully capable of providing support in wartime. Even direct intervention soldiers, in addition to the UK, Australia, Canada, and other countries, they have also repeatedly emphasized the importance of peace in the Taiwan Strait. Can be expected. If Taiwan is invaded, INOGA and even NATO allies will assist militarily or financially. Even considering various factors, some countries will not send ground troops directly into combat. They may also send volunteers. Send warships on patrol, providing intelligence and sanctioning aggressors. Indirect support for Taiwan. During the Ukrainian war, military personnel and intelligence provided by Western countries helped the Ukrainian army reverse the martyrs. Taiwan is a member of the democratic camp. International aid will only be available sooner and more. A Qin-Taiwan war, ostensibly a cross-strait conflict, but in fact it is likely to evolve into a showdown between China and the international community. Predictable. The intervention of the daily waiting countries. It will greatly enhance Taiwan's survival chances. Let the other side advance and retreat into the valley. Because of this, Gongtai is destined to be a last resort for Beijing. Costly. Odds are slim. Now, let's go back to the common people themselves. If war comes, as ordinary people, how can we take refuge and save ourselves? Questions raised earlier. Where can I hide after the cross-strait battle? Finally have to face. Find an air defense shelter. First you must know, where is the air defense shelter near you? Counties in Taiwan. The city has already planned tens of thousands of air defense shelters, mostly located in basements or mixed buildings. Like schools, parking lot, MRT station, etc. Usually on the street, you can often see signs for private shelters. Many people may not notice it for a long time. Now let's find out. Government. Map queries for air defense shelters are also provided. Services and mobile apps. I suggest you pre-positioning several shelters near homes and businesses. If the air raid siren goes off, you can go to refuge as soon as possible. Prepare emergency kits, so-called food at home. Don't panic. There may be power outages and water outages for the time being. Supermarket closed, logistics interruption. Therefore, it is essential to prepare an emergency evacuation kit in advance. And supplies for a period of time. Emergency evacuation kits should be kept within easy reach. It is packed with enough basic supplies for more than 3 days. Bottled water, canned dry food, high-calorie snacks, flashlight radio. Can be generated by battery or hand crank. Spare battery, simple medical first aid kit, personal medicine, mask smoke mask, whistle knife. Multifunction tool, certificate base, small amount of cash, contact information list and warm clothing. Socks and blankets. Raincoats and other things seem like a lot. But if you can, try to put it in a big backpack. He's your lifesaver at a critical moment. In addition to that, home. They should also stock up on at least 2 weeks' worth of drinking water and food such as rice noodles, canned instant noodles, etc., and candles, lighter stove. Toilet paper and other daily necessities are also safe. It is also recommended to learn some simple first aid knowledge at ordinary times. Prepare for commonly used medications. In case of family injury, it can be dealt with in time. When the air raid comes, when the alarm sounds. If in a building, please turn off the power immediately. The fire source carries a shelter bag. Move to the nearest basement or bomb shelter. If you can't find formal asylum for a while, you can also hide in the underground parking lot of the building, office basement or internal stairwell, etc. Never stay by the window or upstairs. If you cannot hide in the building and time outdoors, you should lie down near the low-lying terrain or thick corner edges. Hands to protect the head. Wait for the first wave of bombing to pass. Remain calm during airstrikes. Don't run around. Don't be curious to watch the direction of the explosion fire. Wait until the alarm is lifted to confirm safety. Then follow the instructions of the government to evacuate or transfer in an orderly manner. Maintain daily life. If the war continues for a while, the government will implement a matching system, guarantee basic livelihood supplies. We should always maintain the habit of saving. For the time being, it is more necessary to use materials carefully. There may be blackouts in the streets. Everyone don't turn on the lights at night. To protect the target from enemy aircraft, also develop the habit of carrying a radio or cell phone with you. Be aware of official alerts and messages. In order to know the asylum notification in time or material distribution point information, neighbors better take care of each other. Form a community watch and help group. Joint policing. Fire prevention and cleanup. And here's the thing. Keep a firm belief and a cool head. Tell yourself this is not the time to panic. We stick together. Survive the darkness. Waiting for the dawn. So let's just say that temporary self-rescue requires knowledge, preparation, and unity, as long as we do our homework beforehand, no matter when the storm comes. To the greatest extent possible, ensure the safety of yourself and your family. Back to the question we asked at the beginning. Is attacking Taiwan a death sentence? I believe that after reading the above analysis and deduction, you already have the answer. Facing natural dangers, strong garrison, national mobilization, and international support, any attempt to invade Taiwan are doomed to suffer. The price is not so much how long Taiwan can last. Why don't you ask the invaders how long they can last? The people of Taiwan who are struggling in a desperate situation, we will definitely be able to survive until the dawn of victory.